Everybody, welcome to the sixth iteration of the Roundtable podcast. Uh, with me today, I have a bunch of guests from all around. We have Broken coming in from his bathtub today. Cable's rejoining us, and I have actually two new guests. Ben tried to join us one time before, but couldn't really hang out with us a whole bunch. But he'll be joining us today, and a brand new guest as well. So we'll go really quick and introduce ourselves from top down. I'm gonna be your host today, to Bob29.
I'm Ben B1, and I'm from the Top of War Empire.
I'm Broken 963 from We Are Legion, and yeah, I don't play. I just do both.
I'm Dr. Sparks, and I'd like to point out that going around the table doesn't really work if there isn't an actual table.
I'm Mherex, also known as Cable. I'm confused about my identity. You know this by now, though.
So welcome to the sixth iteration. Unfortunately, to address that point, Dr. Sparks, because of the whole pandemic and virus and everything going on, if we were all around a table, that would not be good social distancing. So we're doing a virtual table. But anywho,
In all fairness, Bob tried to look for a table for us, and he could only find square tables, so it wouldn't have made sense anyways.
yeah, it's a little bit of a pitch. But anyway, so we've got a good chunk of topics on the list today. We're going to talk about how we ended up for the previous month. There's been a week, or not a week, but a couple of days without any events, and we're going to discuss how that goes. They released some new tours, and we're going to discuss the rewards on those, and just a bunch of other things. So I think we can first start out and just kind of close out the prior month and talk about where we ended up in the Masters of the Universe month. If anyone wants to start, feel free, go ahead, talk about what they thought of it and where you ended up.
Well, I mean, I got everyone except for Taker and Macho, of course. The impossible ones. Um, you know, I, honestly, it wasn't a very bad event. The characters, Big E was freaking awesome, and Triple H too. And Cena's, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how much we'll need those guys in the future. But
You only say Cena's. You gotta give a disclaimer. You only say Cena's meh because you have Zombie Cena at 4-star gold already.
well, yeah, man, Zombie Cena was crazy. Yeah, Striker Cena is yep.
So for me, I started the event like pretty excited. Thought it was pretty cool. Was happy to get Warrior. Feel like for a showboat, he is pretty a lot better damage than I anticipated. I'm having a lot of fun using him. I feel like given the right strap and metal setup, he may actually be a viable damage dealing showboat. So I'm pretty excited about that. I like that I got him for free. Um, Big E is phenomenal. I think probably second best trickster in the game behind Hollywood. Like I'm all in on him. I think he's amazing. Again, the event was weird, right? Like so, we had super hard, impossible to get Undertaker, who is, in my opinion, quite a bit inferior to Big E. And Big E was not necessarily super hard to get. I know I had a lot of buddies that I told, hey, if you have to level a guy up, spend coin, whatever, do it. Big E's worth it. Um, and so a lot of people, if they wanted to get him and put some resources into it, the leveling up the guys needed, you were able to get him for free. So Cena, I actually really enjoyed feuding with him more than I thought I would, surprisingly. And I like turn one guys, so if you've seen the way I do, I go with a little bit smaller lineup. So a lot of times, so I like having a guy that can do turn one things and do a decent amount of damage, because I can toss him out there against maybe a 4-star silver and win for sure first turn. Plus, he can hold his own against 4-star golds, and there's not a lot of turn one strikers necessarily in the game. So for feud, So I actually really like him. I can see myself using him a bunch more for feud. Triple H, I haven't leveled as much as I would like. I think he's gonna probably be my best acro. If you were lucky enough to get Powerhouse Macho, probably the strongest character in the game as far as what he can do. Um, so, but I'm not lucky like that, and almost no one is. I think overall it was a pretty great month. Triple H ended up being a lot easier to get than anticipated. At the end, they gave out a bunch of extra shards, so I would rate it as a very, very good month with a lot of very good cards, a lot of good free cards, and I think even people that maybe wouldn't necessarily get the chase guy might have got him, and also people that don't normally complete events had a good shot at getting Warrior and or Big E. So I thought it was a pretty great month overall. Um, with a couple weird things in between. The Taker event was super disappointing, but given everything else that happened, it doesn't bother me in hindsight because we had so many good free options to obtain. So while it was frustrating at the time and I didn't like it at all, hindsight, two paid guys and a bunch of really good free guys, I think it was a great month.
Overall, I would tend to agree. If you've listened to the weekly podcast, yeah, Cena is really good, especially for the added utility that it gives you for feud. All of the Masters of the Universe guys, well, the ones that you could actually get, can go turn one on feud, so that's really a big deal. In terms of, yeah, the people, I mean, I agree. Cena adds a lot of utility, really good turn one striker, which isn't normal. I think Warrior is an above average showboat, so he's really good as well. Macho is incredibly good. The Undertaker character, I think, is actually better than a lot of people may realize, just because a lot of people don't have him. He may not be as fast as some people want, but that power bomb is kind of terrifying when you have to kick out using basically only half the board.
Yeah, I think it's
And
like
yeah,
one row of gems.
yeah, it's and he power bombs you outside of the ring. I mean, that's terrifying.
That last ride animation.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's a definite intimidation factor there because you have to compose yourself. You have to get mentally right. I mean, you end up matching gems that are botched. Like you're all over the place.
No, yeah,
Like there's some cerebral warfare going on there.
it's definitely a hell of an animation. I'll give you that much.
Speaking of animations, I really enjoy that they changed the background, that they added some over the top animations. I mean, this is a game. There's no reason for it to be realistic. Like have Cena give me a Dragon Ball Z Cena that throws fireballs. Like I don't care.
I mean,
Like,
Yeah,
sure,
Warriors
to,
leap
to, a,
off the top rope with the spin. Crazy.
to a certain extent, I could see it. Sure.
I,
But yeah, like I don't know if I want to see that much. I think that's why they're coming out with that new Battlegrounds game or something, where you can throw
I,
people into a crocodile or an alligator or something. I don't know.
I want
But
a Street Fighter crossover where I can Hadouken and throw fireballs,
yeah,
man.
exactly. Like they've shown what they can do with crossovers. Like
yeah,
let's not make this a halfway effort. Let's do this.
I I just want to throw this out there since we're talking about potential crossovers. How about something that resonates with a lot of people, in particular bronies? Let's go with the My Little Pony crossover. You can the
no,
guys can come riding in on like Pinkie Pie and
no,
no.
no,
Oh, okay,
nope.
all right.
You already have
No,
that.
I've seen enough of that with my daughter.
Just
I don't
no.
need
You
my game.
you already have that with New Day.
I mean, yeah, you kind of got a point.
Just no. But
I tried. For all you bronies out there, I tried. You're welcome.
But yeah, in regards to the Master of the Universe month, my Cena ended up at 4 bronze. I was planning on taking him 4 silver. It was just too much coin and too much TP. I didn't want to invest in him. And if I want to, I'll end up taking him higher. But I'm kind of similar on Ben, in the sense of I have Cena. He's Zombie Cena. he's pretty high up. I don't necessarily need to take up Striker Cena. That being said, I'm still going to say what I said before. I'm probably one of the highest up people on this Cena. As a striker, turn 1, you can blow up 6 to 7 rows of the board, and that's striker gem damage, even if they have armor or any sort of gem reduction, and especially if they don't, you're doing some nasty damage on Cena. So hopefully everybody has him at least at 4-star, especially if you don't have Zombie Cena, so he can carry you through your Cena requirements moving forward. The Warrior event, again, was a good event. Anyone that didn't have Powerhouse Warrior got him through that event, through the early milestones, and everyone that did and had all the other requirements did get a pretty damn good Showboat in Showboat Warrior. And yeah, I think to kind of piggyback on what Cable was saying, I think he's one of the very rare Showboats you can do gem damage with and have him be viable. Kind of interesting. Can be turn 1 also in Feud. But yeah, really interesting character. Then yeah, go on to your pay to win events. Obviously, I am not like everybody else here. I ended up getting myself a macho.
Stop talking. Go away.
I'm gonna just move on past that one and pretend like that doesn't actually matter. We all know he was pretty good, but yeah, I'll just
Pretty good.
I'll stay
Stop
quiet
being
about
modest.
that.
Screw you with your
After that,
Pretty good. I got maybe the best card in the game, but it's kind of good. He's okay,
he's
I
kinda
guess.
good. He
yeah,
may be
yeah,
better
right.
than Hogan, but that's besides the
Yeah.
point.
Is
Look, you got Earthquake. He's better than Hogan too. We agreed to that last time. That Earthquake with
Yes.
gear is better than Hogan. All right,
Yes.
it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, but
So-
Macho doesn't care what you have. You
Okay,
got
okay.
You got
Let's.
multiple ways. I'll just
leave you with
cycle and not move my pin bar over and over. Or if you're loaded with armor or something, I don't know. Maybe I'll drop a 200k bleed on you and then a 10-turn sub and just laugh.
Look, we don't have to talk about it. It's fine. I'm aware you're
No,
not happy with me.
I'm fine. I'm fine with you. I am fine with you. If someone has to have it and there are 10 people that do, it's fine that you're one of them. I just am annoyed I'm not one of those 10.
That's very fair. A lot of people pulled him in one of these loots recently that they released.
When
I think
you
it was
say-
at the beginning of this month. When
when
I
you
say
say
a
a-
lot, when I say a
You
lot, I
mean
mean
like 5 more?
I mean like comparatively to the 10 that were on the leaderboard, like another 10 to 15 got pulled.
Okay, so there's 25 machos in the game, and I hate all of you pricks. Anyway, carry on.
Percentage-wise, it's not awful. Okay, just saying. Anyway, the Taker, to touch on the point before, I think he's very interesting. I think it's a cool card, but I still can't get over it. Like, that's a very expensive card that's not really worth it, and a lot of people spent a shit ton of money for that. So I'm kind of
Not this guy.
yeah, yeah. Some people in my faction pulled them for $20. So hey, shout out to everyone that got them for cheap pulls. But yeah, I'm just not huge on him. He's a great card still. Don't get me wrong. Still viable. Has 3 choose moves. Can do the choose X break gem. Has the 6 rows of botch gems, which you can turn into green and then continually do it. Like, it's ridiculous. Yes, it's a good card. Just current technicians that are out there are probably better than him. Is the point? Tech Black, Kofi, Gargano, and I think even arguably Ciampa is all 4 of them are better than him. But outside of that, the final one was Big E, which I think was a massive one. A lot of people got a free Big E, or got him, like Cable was saying, for a couple million coin that they have to invest in some cards, and that's huge. That card's amazing. I don't know about top 2 Trickster, but probably top 5, top 3 Trickster, because I still think Trickster Eddie is up there too with Hollywood. And there's a sprinkle of like decent ones, but he's definitely up there. He's a stupid strong card. Fills the New Day requirement, and with the Trickster he can dodge a whole shit ton of things. So I think overall the month for requirements was a good month. Obviously it sucks there was 2 pay to win events, but good
Are
month.
there any tricksters that people actually have that you think are better?
No.
No, I mean, if they lucked out and have NWO Macho, maybe.
So no,
I'll be honest with you. I have NWO Macho. Still no.
of course.
Still no.
I have NWO Macho. I think Eddie's my top trickster, and then Big E's right after.
I think that the top 3 tricksters in the game at the moment are Hollywood Hogan, Trickster Eddie, and Big E. I don't think NWO Macho's top three. I think everyone just is hyping him up because they don't really have him
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
the power.
Well, it's super situational too. You have to have the right buffs
You have to have the right
to get
buffs,
him
the
to be
right
really good.
perks, the right like you need to fully deck him out to
Yeah,
do stuff.
you need him double armor and have a lucky 8 match for that purple blue.
It's to me it's just too situational in certain aspects. Like you have to have either lane buffs or like you're saying you have to have certain matches. It works. Don't get me wrong. It's very strong, but it's just it it's situational. Big E is not
And
situational.
Biggie, you just push a button and let the traps do all the work for you.
Yeah, that for sure. And Dr. Sparks, to touch on your point, no, I don't think anybody that has that like Hollywood or Trickster Eddie or any even NWO Macho, the people that do have them, I think Big E's better than them, and the people that don't have any of those cards, yeah, this is the best Trickster on your roster, hands down.
Yeah. Huge. I mean, I have how many guys on my roster? I think 200 and maybe 208. And by a mile, the best trickster on my roster with 208 cards deep. So,
I'm also saying this, and I haven't even taken mine up past like 3,000 talent. I was taking out 4-star bronzes that were 9K talent in feud, easy.
yeah,
Easy.
he's
Like
just crazy.
it doesn't make sense, and my moves aren't maxed or anything. Like just poops on people. The card's just very strong. Um, so yeah, last month, again, there were two very annoying pay-to-win events. Um, but overall, the month for requirements was a pretty kick-ass month. And Triple H, amazing card. I still don't have him leveled up, but a shit ton of people do, and they keep swearing up and down that he's one of the best acrobats, even better than Ricochet and a shit ton of other people. So I I don't doubt it. I'm sure that card's amazing also. So all of these
Yeah,
cards
he,
are pretty damn kick ass.
I think, like, when you consider the volume of good cards, too, and the fact that like you didn't have to pay for 4 out of the 6. Um, Granted, it was required you have a lot of, or not necessarily a lot, but a fair amount of the required guys. But still, that being said, I can't remember a month where I had a chance to get 4 guys that were this good. I probably can't remember a month where I had a chance to get 2 guys that were this good for free, let alone 4.
Right, I was gonna say
Across,
without spending.
yeah.
yeah, across,
The zombie month maybe if you were super lucky this last one, but yeah,
Like the spring outbreak with the bags, you mean?
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
So
all
I would,
RNG.
and that was not even a month long. That was like what, a 1 weeker,
It was like a
the
two
spring
week a
outbreak.
2 weeker, yeah. But it was
Yeah.
all RNG based compared to what you're saying like this. You have the choice of your own fate and your own destiny by grinding it out or not.
So I'm gonna maybe as I think it probably for me is the best month they've ever done. Given that, and that's weird when you think about some of the stuff that's happened recently. But I think I feel comfortable saying that I think this was the best month they've ever done as far as when you factor in the volume and how good so many of those guys were.
well, the trend on best month ever usually means the next month is yuck.
Yeah.
Well, that's not completely true because they did Edge and Fandango pretty close together, and I think they were both pretty easy, pretty fair months.
Yeah, that's true.
They were,
Yeah, and then Stephanie and then Brett too, right after kind of back to back to back. Oh,
yeah, but that was one good guy.
Yeah.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's the
So,
other thing. Edge isn't even a top 5 trick. I know a lot of people like him, but he just doesn't really get it done anymore.
Still sits 3-star gold in my lineup.
That dude is still level 1 on my roster. I think there's been 2 or 3 tours for him. I have cleared every single one with him at level 1 4-star bronze. Never moving his level.
Doesn't that mean he's pretty good?
Yeah, that's
He's
exactly what that
he's
means.
good because in that case he always heals himself to full because it's like 3,500 leech gem damage and you're at 14k max health. But the thing is, your leech gem damage doesn't go up if you end up leveling him up.
I think he's really good. Like, so he was my best trickster before Big E. So I think for a lot of people, he was their best trickster. I mean,
Yeah.
you could argue maybe Zombie Cena is better, and depending on how you're using him, Edge has got the turn one, sub ability. Um, but I think for a lot of people, Edge is their best trickster. I know he was mine until I got Big E.
Yeah, that's fair.
He may be more prevalent coming up with 5 star coming around too. So
Yeah, 5 star is going to change a lot. It's going to be hard to say with some characters how they'll do.
Yeah, yeah, I guess we can talk about 5 star, right? Beta's done. They took it down.
Oh, yo, whoa, hold up, bro. I didn't get to talk about my month.
Talk
All
about
right,
your
we can move
month.
on. No, I don't want to burden anybody, but it's fine.
Where'd you get your Cena to?
Alright, so my Cena only got to 4-star bronze because I started out the event. I looked at Triple H and I figured he was a lot like X-Pac, but instead of hitting 4 columns, he was essentially hitting 8. So I really liked the idea of him. I really wanted him. I was all gung-ho at the beginning, did everything, maxed everything out, and then feud happened. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to be out 300 shards, so I give up. So I got Warrior through his event, and I pretty much gave up on the month. I stopped doing my daily Cena, everything. The last 2 days of the event, I looked at Triple H and I was like, I wish I kind of went for him a little bit harder. And I noticed I was at 1,400 shards. And 4 hours later, I had Triple H on my roster. I was able to get 600 shards in a single day, thanks to the generosity of shards at the end. So that was good. I got New Day, Big E, which is going to be awesome because he does have the New Day link still. I got his 1 gear, which obviously is the better of the 2 gear. And I tried to go for the other gear, struck out, but not too upset about it. Still a really solid card, and for the record, I do think Macho is better still. Wasn't able to get Powerhouse Macho, even though he's probably one of the best cards in the game, and it is what it is. But the thing I'm upset is these guys for the Masters of the Universe. I don't think we're going to be seeing them around very much in any of the loots. I think it's going to be like zombies, where in 6 months we might get a little. Here's a Master of the Universe 1 week event where you can try to get shards or whatever, but I think we're pretty much done seeing them for a while, which is going to be a shame because those who have Macho are really going to dominate for a while. Other than that, Taker, I think Zombie Taker's better still, personally. It is what it is. He's really hard to get, and I have other technicians I'd rather bring up anyway. So overall, I think it was a really good month. They offered a lot of free cards. Well, not free per se, but cards that people have the ability to obtain. So
I actually think we're going to see them a lot because eventually people are going to figure out how good they are in feud. So we're not going to see them in events, but they're going to be all over feud, I think.
I get that, but here's the problem: is it was a Mattel crossover that was pretty much forced down Scopely's throat, so they had no choice but to run the event. And I think it's going to be one of those Hall of Fame Booker things where we might not even see some of them again.
So you're talking from a can you obtain them again perspective, right, Broken? And I think Dr. Sparks was talking from a players are going to use them a bunch perspective, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was talking more towards the attainability, but he does have a point. Once everybody starts seeing how good they are, and it's Scopely. They need to make a profit, so they still can profit off of these guys. I just don't know what the licensing agreement is with these specific characters because they were based off of toys. And even the zombies, they can only do them so often. You don't see Zombie Austin in every loot, even though Zombie Austin is the best Austin.
I think one leads into the other. I think that Scopely will see that once a whole bunch of players start using them in Feud and in Showdown, because a bunch of people are realizing how many other people are using them because of how good they are, that Scopely's going to say, well, this forced Mattel event wasn't so bad after all. Maybe we do make this into a zombie type of event and do one of these again in 6 months or 8 months or whatever it may be, instead of just doing a
Yeah, I can
weekly
see
event.
that. I can see that, especially since there is a whole another wave of these toys that have been released. I mean, you have Balor, you have another Triple H.
Ray.
There's plenty of other. I think there was Rey Mysterio had one too.
Yeah,
There's
Ray
plenty
and
of other. Exactly. So I mean, they could do a second wave of this if they wanted to. I think we'll see it in a year, much like the zombies. But as for between now and either 6 months from now, getting a Masters of the Universe mini event or getting a full mother event, I don't think we're going to see these guys in loot very often unless they have like a specific Macho Man loot where they're able to cram them in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think a short event makes the most sense. So similar to how they're treating zombies, like you don't really see a lot of zombie requirements just in random events. But what you do see is what do they do, that spring breakout event is what, usually like a week or something.
Yeah, like a week or
So I
two.
think
Yeah.
that's more
Yeah.
like they'll probably make up some way
The-
to make them
yeah,
relevant for a week.
they'll do that because, like I said, it's kind of a Mattel thing too. Zombies were also Mattel, so that's why they're not as used as often because I'm sure they still have to pay Mattel certain rights to do this and everything.
So, if I'm understanding it right, basically what you're saying is WWE told Scopely, hey, you need to run an event for these guys to coincide with the toys, sort of thing. And so they
Yeah,
have.
well, WWE basically told Scopely, hey, look, we want you to do a Masters of the Universe thing. It's going to be our He-Man crossover. We want you to do this in order to push the sales of toys. And I'm sure Scopely had to work with Mattel to try to get these images of the characters. I mean, they had to work with them for the zombies and everything. So it really depends on the deal that Scopely has with Mattel or the deal that or what WWE tells them they can and can't do.
Interesting. Okay, so with I didn't actually know that. So with a lot of the stuff for the game, WWE tells them like or they so they don't
Oh,
have.
absolutely. I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to say, but to be honest with you, I really don't care. How it works is they build a character that they want. They submit the imaging and stuff to WWE. WWE tells them, yes, no, I don't like this, I don't like that. They kick it back to them. They either rebuild the character or they proceed to give the character animations and moves. They work with WWE to get the moves in the game, what moves they want, what they're allowed to have, this, that, and the other. Then it's actually a month-long process just to get one character into the game, believe it or not. Obviously, they can work on a couple characters at the same time, but, for example, Hogan, the Hogan that is in the game, the Powerhouse Hogan, I seen the character models for that character well over a year ago. WWE can tell Scopely, look, we don't want this character in the game at all. That's when you have your Stardust issue and your ADR issue and your Enzo issue where they can no longer market these superstars because WWE is basically telling them we don't want to be associated with them anymore. So Scopely can only really do what WWE tells them. They're completely bound by contracts, and we all know how Vince can be with a lot of things. So sometimes you see something and you're like, why would you do that? It's WWE telling them yes or no. So, and yes, there are times where, like the Zombies, like Master of the Universe, WWE tells them, no, you're doing this to help profits or to boost sales in this department or that department, and you'll get sales. So it all works together, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because part of this is working on the image that they're trying to create for the wrestler. Like, if they're trying to push someone, they don't want a card to come out and have that card be bad. It's similar to, I don't know if any of you guys remember back in the day when Soul Calibur came out, Soul Calibur 2 on the consoles, the different console versions had a specific character.
Yeah, like
And the
Link for
ex-
the yeah.
yeah, exactly. So Link is who I was going to bring up. So Miyamoto, actually, the only reason or kind of the caveat for allowing Link to be in the game is that he said Link must win. So he was like, I will let you put him in the game, but you need to make him incredibly strong because we don't want, that kind of that image of weakness for this character. So yeah, it makes sense that they would control what characters are good or bad to some extent. And also, depending how these contracts are laid out, there could be, for merchandising and things like that, it could be that they take them out not only because they don't want to be associated with them, but just because they might have to pay them if they keep using them.
There might be a kickback.
So some of these people,
Yeah.
that are still in, they're like, oh well, I don't have to pay them. I can keep using them all they want, so might as well leave them.
Exactly, and like I went to Los Angeles to visit their headquarters in November, not this past November, but the November prior. At that point, we had already seen characters like Typhoon and Earthquake. We actually saw character models for characters that still aren't in this game today. I can't really mention who they are, but we saw character models for Rey Mysterio, and one of the ones that interested us the most was Becky Lynch. And we were like, we want Becky Lynch. She's hot right now. And the people over at Scopely basically told us she's not hot enough yet. WWE told us to hold off on her, and we have to wait until they give her a real big push to do anything with her. And that's when we had the Becky Lynch month with the Free Becky and the Chase Becky, which was to help promote her push in the actual company.
Man, that worked so well, didn't it?
So, so maybe that's why we don't have, say, an Adam Cole type yet. Then
Adam Cole is, yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like, yeah, NXT is a big deal, but compared to main roster, I mean, most people still probably don't know who NXT people are.
There's a character model for Adam Cole. There is a character model for Adam Cole. It is his Undisputed Era, I think it is. But there is a character model for him, but I don't honestly know if we're ever going to see it. So I guess we'll have to wait until he's hot enough to see him in the game.
Well, spoiler alert, probably shows with Soul soon.
I mean, like I said, I saw Hogan 3 years ago. Like, when the game came out, that SummerSlam I had met with Eric and Jen in New York City right before SummerSlam. We went to lunch together. We talked about the game and everything, and that's when they showed us Hogan, and they were like, well, we don't even know if he's ever going to come into the game with the whole scandal of the racist remarks he had made and everything, and WWE basically said, no, we don't want anything to do with him at the time. So they make character models, and then they go away. A perfect example is Dean Ambrose. They almost weren't allowed to release Powerhouse Dean, and I think the only reason that they were able to release Powerhouse Dean was because it was the gas mask one, and Vince McMahon wanted to humiliate him a little bit more. So I think that's the only reason that we saw Dean when we did.
Gotta love the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
If I could add one little thing to the Adam Cole, I think another reason why they may have waited was based on his contract. Obviously, you don't want to put someone out whose contract maybe is about to expire. But I think in June he signed a new deal, so I think that by itself probably gives it a better chance that
I
we'll
mean,
eventually see it.
I mean, yes and
Better
no. Like I
potential.
said, it was over a year and a half ago now that I've seen this. So
Yeah, you never know. Like you said, it was 3 years for Hogan. So it
yeah, and
depends
like
on
I
what
said,
they got in the pipeline. They always have their
we
roadmap.
exactly. I mean, we saw natural disasters when we went there, and they just released last month. So
Right. So you never know. Maybe they're planning a very big release for him as a 5-star superstar that's going to have an amazing 5-star set. You never know what's going on in the back of their head. They can be doing anything. Um,
Yeah, maybe they know he's gonna end up on, let's say, like on the main roster. We haven't seen a Matt Riddle yet. Matt Riddle goes to the main roster. Maybe he starts getting a push. Then they release the card too. There's a lot. I guess that brings up a lot of. It makes more sense maybe why we see some guys and why we don't see others, considering it's not just Scopely making the choice of when we see who when.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that's why NXT hasn't become a bigger deal. I mean, most of the NXT people that we have are NXT people that have already moved on to the main roster. So I think it's just they're really popular to a percentage of the audience, which because we're nerds on the internet, we feel like we're a large percentage. But yeah, the real world is actually much larger, and all those people want Cena and Roman Reigns and Undertaker.
yeah, I can't lie. I'm kind of over the 5, 6 variants of the same character. I think it's interesting, but like you have so much more flexibility of what you could possibly do. It's just different. But anyway, before we move on to the 5-star, I think that's one of the kind of like the last things we'll talk about because that hasn't happened yet. But they came out with some recent tours. They came out with new road tours. Everyone's been asking for them for forever, and they actually came out with some. I think it's round 1 and round 2 currently, which you can do all the way normal, hard, and hell with your current 4-star superstars. And I think they have round 3 and 4 is in the code for 5-star superstars, which, like I was saying, we'll end up talking about a little bit later because we're all under the assumption that's this upcoming monthly event. But the current road tours, round 1, round 2, what are you guys thinking about them? Are they good? They worth chasing? Did you have to move anybody specific in order to get those rewards, and was it worth it compared to like what the old road rewards used to be for, like, I think it's Shield Dean and Roman and Seth, like for 3-star silver tokens? Like, did you actually have to move anyone, and did you get anything good out of it yet?
I
So the
haven't.
Royal, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. It's fine.
I was gonna say the Royal Rumble tours specifically. I mean, obviously those have amazing stuff, and the thing is that most people aren't going to be able to do them unless you have a very diverse 5-star roster. I'm sorry, 4-star gold roster. Um, I was able to do most of it. There's a NXT tag node against DIY that I wanted no part of,
That sounds
but
terrifying.
yeah, it's especially when your best NXT guys are like 3-star silver Acro Seth.
And it's what, like a 4-star gold team DIY?
Yeah, all those Royal Rumble, the first, so I'm gonna call them days, but that's not what they're called.
Sure.
The first day Royal Rumble is a little bit, mostly 4-star silver,
Okay.
but I think the first node on the second day hard is 4-star gold Kofi.
Oof, tech, right? That's
Yeah,
awful.
so they're definitely not easy, but there's a ton of coins and TP and
4-star
tokens.
gold. Yeah,
Yeah,
4-star
I
gold
mean,
tokens. A lot of
Four
those.
yeah,
star gold tokens.
yeah. There's a ton of really good stuff in there, which I think it makes sense for people that right now have 4-star gold characters because you're going to be able to do those, and that's going to be extremely helpful for the 5-star transition. And then the people that can't do it, they're probably going to be upset because people are entitled jerks. But once they get to the point where all that stuff's actually going to be useful, it's going to be there for them. So I really like
I'm
the Royal Rumble tours.
Yeah, I'm stuck until I get China 4-star gold on that second Hell No.
Is that a requirement? You need to use China for one of those Royal Rumble tours?
It's attitude women
So you have to use China for one of those Royal Rumble Hell tours.
or Lita, right?
Uh,
Yeah, it's either China or Lita. They're the only.
Yeah, I was able to get through it with Lita at 4-star bronze.
Jeez.
So, what's funny is talking about that the 14K X-Pac. I took my 7K Biggie in with and beat him. And
I pretty much annihilated all of that stuff with Powerhouse Kane.
Oh
So,
yeah, because you
is-
have the gear.
who's getting beaten in the background there? It sounded like someone just got clubbed with a paint can.
Yeah, everything okay over there,
My
bud?
kids were airing up a ball.
It sounds like maybe you aired your
A
kids
large
up.
metal ball.
Yeah, that must sound like someone got
Hey, it
dinged
is
with a paint
Texas.
can.
Maybe things are different.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I think the tours are great. I'm obviously not going to say where my coin is at right now this second, but even after spending a lot of coin last month, I have more coin right this second than at any point that I've been playing the game. I have enough. I have
Yeah.
enough.
Blitz tickets are my own deficit.
So that even that being said, the kickback tour gave us what, like close to 12, 13, 14,000 blitz tickets or something. So that was not the, granted that's not a ton, but
It's
I
fucking free.
I
Yeah,
I love
I soaked those up. I went from 70K the last month, like 17K right now.
Yeah.
I always am somewhere between like 30 and 40K to start a month, and last month I bought every blitz ticket on the prize wall, like literally every one, even the not good value ones. There was not a single blitz ticket left.
Ask Two Bob how many he used.
No,
Yeah.
we already discussed that during the last podcast.
So
I'm thankfully in a decent blitz ticket position now because I have purchased a bunch off the prize wall. There's been the kickback tour. There's been a couple of like those Cena and Triple H bags that used to give out blitz
Yep.
tickets. So there's been a tiny little influx of blitz tickets. I'm thankfully okay at the moment. I'm not sweating right this very second. I'm not in the range that Cable was just talking about for starting a month at, but I am in a much more comfortable when I compare things like that. I am in a much more comfortable situation versus 2 weeks ago when I had 300 blitz
Yes.
tickets to my name.
yeah,
That's how I look at things in this game. You just gotta put
Well,
it up comparatively.
Was Macho worth your blitz tickets?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
So I would stop your fucking crying.
Of course it
Yes,
was.
yes.
Of course he was.
I'm done.
Boo-hoo.
Where I have
I'm
no
not
blitz
bitching
tickets,
anymore.
but I have Macho. Where?
For those listening, if you could just trade 100,000 blitz tickets for a powerhouse macho, anyone wouldn't do it.
And he got the cane gear along the way. So let's
Yeah,
still
well,
double this guy.
double. The guy gets Eddie and Ray one month, and then Powerhouse Kane or Powerhouse Macho and Kane gear next month. So,
Listen, all this shit cost me money still and a shit ton of time, alright? Get off my ass.
Where? I feel bad for Bob. Yeah.
So I'm actually to try and save Two Bob continued beating. I'm actually at sitting at 30K blitz tickets, which considering I had 0 like on the last blitz, I'm ecstatic about. And then, like I said, more coin than I've ever had, and my TP has been getting dangerously low. But after doing a bunch of the tour and stuff, I believe every color is over 2K at least again for me, which is a big deal. I'm still recovering from zombie
Speaking
outbreak
of
with my
TP,
TP.
real quick.
Green has
Speaking of
become my
TP,
new blue, and I need like no green, so I've got a ton
well,
of green.
you can thank Jeff over at Scopely for looking into the TP drop rate odds after we pestered him for weeks, and he finally looked into it. And what do you know? 2 hours later, blue stopped being a thing. So
Yeah, in case anyone isn't aware, the TP odds have been adjusted, thankfully.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all
Could
green and yellow now.
yeah,
could you
if you don't believe it, go open some of your bags. Not all of them, just go open some of them, and you will see comparatively you're not getting twice as much blue as your second highest color anymore. It may still be your highest just because of RNG, but it's not like,
right
oh, 1200, 500, 400, 300. It's like maybe like 800, 600,
right
500, 400.
How's the Olympic medal drop rate working out?
yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Can we talk to him
I
about
don't.
the
I don't
that
want to
that
talk about
NHL?
that one
that
ever.
that's our next thing is we're showing them how many Mark Henry medals and all that other stuff. The powerhouse tokens that people are getting is just absolutely absurd. So we're trying to have them look into that one too.
Yeah,
While we're on
I mean, we
this,
say that, but powerhouses are the best. So I mean, maybe it's not
the
that
Yeah, I
worst.
was
bad
gonna
that
say,
powerhouse.
are we really gonna cry about it right now though? Like, I could
Maybe I'll
understand
think
the
about
blue
that a little bit
TP
before
issue,
going
look,
forward.
but yeah,
while
come
we're
on, let's before we knock the walls down, let's stop and think about this for a minute,
look,
okay?
just while we're
I
on the
mean,
topic, the only thing I want to
as
say, if
long as
you're go on, Ben.
yeah, as long as it's swapped with wolf ass cans, I'll be fine.
Fair enough. Striker's a great class too. That being said, if we're bringing things up to them, Broken, can you please bring up to them one more time the fact that the metal percentages are not all equal? That if you have purple, yellow, green, or blue, it's on a tier 3 metal, it's 3.2%. If you have black, it's 2.4%, and if you have red, it's 1.6%.
I think that was intended like that because of the way the damage is for each gem per
Okay.
character.
I mean, it
Right?
sounds
For the class
I'm, I'm
advantage.
not I'm not 100% sure, but I'm fairly sure. Like that's why I think black is the lowest because it's usually the hardest hitting color.
well, no,
Uh,
Red,
red's
red
the
is
lowest. That's why
Or
I'm
I'm
saying
red's
sorry,
something. Yeah,
red, not
maybe
black,
it's because
because
of the buff that
the
four
powerhouse
star
buff
gold.
at 4 star.
maybe. I
Yeah, I
don't
would
know.
say it's probably more due to that because I mean, 4-star golds got a lot better, and they really wanted people to build them up and see that they would be my guess.
I don't know. I just feel it's not right when you look at all the other colors being like fixated numbers, and then those are just somehow randomly
I
less. It's just
mean,
weird.
yeah,
I want
I can bring it up.
99% gem boost on my red for Kane for sure.
I'll bring it up, but I can't promise anything.
Oh, that's fair. I just figured while we're talking about it. But
Because I mean, powerhouses have really strong move damage also. So I mean, if you give them too much gem damage, then at that point it becomes unbalanced.
yeah, that's fair.
Whereas strikers have terrible damage.
Yeah, they have really shit move damage. That's also a great point.
But I do get the premise of like if you wanted to put a red metal onto, I'm going to use Showboat Undertaker for an example,
Sure.
because you're going to be able to choose red gems if you want them to do a little bit more damage. I do get that aspect, but you also have to look at it like this: when you throw it on Powerhouse Macho, and you're not moving the pin bar, and you're just hitting a bunch of red gems every
Sure.
turn, like, come on, let's be fair here.
No, that's understandable. I just to me it's like it. Yes, prior to the buff and all these things, yes, it would make sense that if it was equal, and that's how I kind of figured it was. But if if that's their balancing act of like they released these medals and stuff, and they wanted to make sure it wasn't OP and didn't get out of balance, and those are the percentages that they kicked in, is that striker's going to be 75% and powerhouse or black and red will be 50%. Then sure, that makes sense. I just thought I would bring it up because it's been that way since release, which it's been out for a while. But
Honestly, it sounds like Tubob not only is complaining about having Powerhouse Macho,
oh
he's
my
now
god.
complaining that he's not strong enough.
No,
And
More power.
honestly, not at all. I wanted it for
Yeah,
Drew.
it's a shame because his powerhouse macho, he's got to use each move 3 times, and he really wants to get it down to 2. Come on, Bob.
Yeah, and he really wants to just keep hitting them when they're in danger just for fun.
Look, man, you guys keep saying that it's about Powerhouse Matcha. A lot of people got Earthquake with gear. It would definitely help out a shit ton of people with Earthquaking gear. That's all I'm
Bob,
saying.
you're fighting a losing fight, so just drop it, understand it. I'm just every time I go up against your macho, I'm just gonna use Trickster Big E, and I'm gonna kill him before he even gets a turn. So it
Do
is what
it.
it is.
Do it. It'll work. Do it. I don't know if anyone had anything to say about the tours that didn't get to say it. If you want to, please feel free. I still want to make sure we all get everything in about the tours. I think they're pretty interesting.
No, I mean, not about the tours specifically, but you guys talked a lot about the Blitz tickets. I am hopeful that they do go towards kind of the similar what they're doing right now, where the Blitz tickets are event specific and you get them for doing the tour. Because I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are burning out, like they're using Blitz tickets just for like these one little event, and then like 2 days later there's another Blitz. So I think if they mix in some of these event specific Blitz tickets that you get from tours, I think it'll help a lot to keep people sane with the Blitz ticket usage.
So before that, but yeah, I will definitely touch on that in just a second. But yeah, before that, in regards to the tours, I definitely think it's a shit ton of rewards that everyone should go out and get. If you guys can't do it, just look into how far you can get on each round. Normal, hard, hell. See what you
hey,
can do.
Broken, are you doing dishes in the bathtub with you now?
The fuck you talking about? I'm on push to talk.
No, you're no, you're
No,
definitely not.
definitely not.
Arrgh! Fuck yourselves.
Mute button is your friend, Broken.
Oh, that's funny.
There you go. There you go.
Is
But
that
yeah,
better?
yes.
Yes.
But yeah, the tour is definitely
Still
worth
go fuck
doing.
yourself.
Tour is definitely worth doing. If you guys can get them done, do whatever rounds you can. If you have VIP, that you're VIP 11 and can get hell without doing 3-star Vault of Hard, try and get through the hell mode too. Just try and get through whatever you can because it has a lot of resources at any level that you could possibly access it. So definitely worth going for those. And before we move on to the current event, kind of wanted to touch base on it because we had a I found it funny. We had a brief period of time in the game where there was no events. There was like a tiny little faction-based event for Christmas in July where you got the gear and you got what like it wasn't really an event. It was spend $5 and if your faction spends $5, that's it. And that was kind of it. And then we had kickback tours, which wasn't really an event. It was free stuff, sure. Like we were talking about 12,000 Blitz tickets, like I think a million coin maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I mean it was free
Bunch
stuff.
of
But
PP.
like, how did you guys feel that there was like a brief stint of time without any hardcore event or showdown or feud or monthly or weekly or it felt
Can
like
I
there was
can I touch
nothing
on this one?
crazy. Go
Yeah,
on.
Broken, go
Can
for
I?
it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I'm sick and tired of seeing people complain how all the events are back to back to back. There's no breathing room, this, that, and the other, and then they finally give us just a little bit of reprieve.
Yep.
And then everybody and their mother, well, I'm going to quit this game because there's nothing going on. It's so boring. I hate this game. Jesus Christ, could you do something already? Like, shut the fuck up. I'm tired of it. I'm done. Just shut the fuck up.
I,
I was
I wasn't
I,
gonna
I,
be as blunt, but I mean,
yeah.
sure.
I'm one of those weird people that always wants something to do. I love grinding. I blitzes don't bother me. I want something to do in the game. I like it. I'll like watch TV while doing it, do other stuff while doing it. So the more stuff going on for me, the better, especially if there's a chance to get free stuff. So I personally have hated not having anything to do, but I would say that even when there's a bunch to do, I will say it felt like the last week, even for an event, they had a lot. It was crazy how much was going on the last week of the month. And it was cool because a lot of people were able to get um, Triple H that might not have been able to and stuff. But um, balancing that out a little bit better throughout the month might have been good. But I hate when there's not much going on personally. So I know some people love the break. Some people complain about either or. A lot of people complain about either or. But I like it when there's always stuff to do personally.
Do you think they
I think
backloaded? Sorry, go on, Sparks.
I was gonna say I think at one point towards the end of last week they had two blitzes going on at the same time. Like there was the faction blitz that people were actually doing, and then I think there was like a trickster blitz that no one was doing.
I was gonna say, you guys think they backloaded the prior monthly just with a whole shit ton of stuff? There was two or three blitzes. There was a
Their
bunch of
their
tours.
their specific reasoning was this whole new layout and everything. Let's be real, with the Sarge event, everybody and their mother's uncle was lost. Half the people couldn't find the solo event. The other half of the people could figure it out, but didn't realize. Well, you could use specific, or you can sort by specific characters for what you were doing. If you were doing a blitz, it would give you the ones giving extra blitz points and everything. And not many people actually found that. So I think this was a good spot because I'm going to laugh hysterically and I'm not going to help anyone, and I don't give a fuck because I've been fighting with Scopely. Once the solo milestone next month goes live and they start doing coin event and TP events and people can't find them or they miss them because they didn't realize there was an event going on and this and that, it's going to be a pain in the ass, and I really am going to exclude myself from all of that. So it was good that they had this break and they ran this little mini Sergeant Slaughter event for people to get used to the new event system.
That's
Yeah,
a
I
good
mean
call.
it's a little confusing, but I think what's funny is that they had The Rock telling you what to do and what to click on, and I'm sure no one read any of that.
No one paid attention. Yeah, they just
Whoa,
fucking
whoa,
spammed
whoa,
it.
whoa, hold on. What? They did? Is that the part I just tapped through? Oh, okay. Well, is what it is.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, going with that, even some of the things, because yeah, I'll agree, it's very convoluted. But once you know where you're actually supposed to look to find stuff, then some things that they added are pretty nice. One of the things that I'm pretty sure people are misinterpreting is that I think people think that for the Blitz, you can only do that 6 times because it says 6 matches remaining.
That is what I
But
thought initially as
but
well.
that's just how many matches are left in the Blitz. So
Hey,
if you go to that same screen after you do one match, it says 5 matches remaining, and so on and so forth.
Can I throw something out there real quick? I'm actually uploading a video to YouTube right now that explains all this. So cheap plug. Check out the video when it drops in a few minutes.
Everybody here unsubscribe from Cable Guy. That'd be great.
Yes, you can happily unsubscribe from Cable Guy. I am okay with that.
So
I
yeah,
mean-
to touch on the topic at
Things have
hand.
gotten tense in here.
The 4th of July weekend event, Hall of Fame Sarge event, the new user interface, everything going on with it, just to kind of touch on it and put it in a bow type of thing. After this whole little break that we had with the kickback tours and no events, which I'd like to mention too. I kind of liked it. I enjoyed the fact that I had a break. I got to farm if I wanted to farm, and if I was bored of farming, I could go and play any of the other games that I felt like playing with zero issue. There was no obligation. There was no 1% to hit. It was nice to be able to just chill and vibe. Damn, Ben, your kids are really ruining it in the background, huh?
Yeah, they are.
So it sounds like they're trying to play music on a cheese grater.
Awesome. No, I'll run away. No, I mean I like the time off. I actually dropped to a lower faction this next month of the Blitz burnout for sure, and to try to recoup some stuff, and I like the fact that I didn't have to log in every second, so it was kind of nice. The uh, the new contest thing is a little stupid, but I figured it out pretty easily. But yeah,
Yeah, I think one thing that people kind of forget is you could always just not participate if
Yeah,
there's a
no,
lot of stuff
you
going
laugh, but he's
on.
being dead ass serious. You
No,
could.
no, I know.
If there's
It's
a lot of
Yeah.
stuff
nothing that.
going on, people are like, "Oh, there's too much. Like it's too much. Hold back." Why don't you just not participate? Like go
Well, here's
outside
the
and
problem with
hug your
that.
kids and take a walk or something.
Here's the problem with that. This game relies so much on FOMO, it's not even funny. So
Yeah, it does.
if you are the type of person that you have any fear that you're going to miss out and your roster is going to suck now and this, that, and the other, you're doing every event. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
A primary example of that, honestly, it does suck to say it, but it's true. A primary example of it was the Hall of Fame month, because they've had Hall of Fame requirements for a lot of things recently, ever since that month, and Booker was the quote-unquote only free one you could have gotten without spending money on the Hall of Fame loots, um, and they require Hall of Fame a lot. So it is
You
kind of shitty if you do have
yeah,
that type of FOMO and you actually ended up missing that month, or if you willingly were like, yeah, I'm so happy I didn't like whatever it is, you have to be lucky enough to pull another Hall of Fame character, and
yeah. The
it's
Hall of
rough.
Fame thing was big. Yeah, if you missed out on Booker, you're hurting a lot of these events that have been.
Oh, that's it exactly. Like I stopped playing that month, and to this day, I spent stupid amounts of money on the Hall of Fame loot. I've got more Hall of Fame ingots than I even know what to do with because I don't have a Hall of Fame character to buy tokens for or anything.
Right.
So to say, yeah, you can just skip a month, that's very easy to say. But if you are really into this game and you do skip a month, chances are you're going to spend a lot of money down the line trying to recover. And you, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to recover.
I think that was the one month though. I think outside of that month, if you missed any of these other months, that's okay. You missed
I
Sasha
think
and Bailey, okay.
I
And
honest,
go on.
I think if you miss this month we just had, we don't know yet, but I feel like if you miss this month we just had, that's going to have some long-term ramifications. We'll see, but I could be wrong, but I
I,
do feel like this month was an important one.
I would agree. Those would be the
I'd
two
agree.
months. I think Hall of Fame month and this Masters of the Universe month would probably be the two that you would have massive FOMO for.
And the
But
worst part is, is what 2 months did everybody say that they were going to skip? They were going to skip Booker T because they didn't want this bronze statue on their roster and blah blah blah. And then this one they didn't want to do because it was absolutely ludicrous and this, that, and the other. So
yeah, no, you're right. And to be honest, what's so funny is people were so looking forward to Bailey, and I'm not saying Typhoon's a bad card by any means, but if you didn't get either of those two, you wouldn't have very much FOMO. If you didn't get Hall of Fame
Yep.
Booker, you have FOMO and you're chasing with hundreds. You didn't get these Masters of the Universe cards, you don't have Tech Kofi, you're chasing with hundreds for New Day Rec. You don't have Warrior, you're still chasing with hundreds to pull Warrior. It's just and Cena, you're screwed. You're shit out of luck. You have to wait until Zombie Month to get Zombie Cena, and Triple H, you have to subscribe to get Triple H. So yeah, it's a roughie if you miss those 2 months. You have some unfortunate FOMO, but
I mean, I don't have Hall of Fame Booker. Um, I'm fine. I mean, I'm not losing sleep over it.
do you
And
have any
personally,
other Hall of Fame cards?
No.
Okay.
yeah, but that's the thing is next month when they do the showdown event, and now you have to either spend money on pulls or you're not getting the showdown character. That's where I'm talking your FOMO comes in, not just your everyday play. It's
Yeah,
when
I
these
mean,
events require a Hall of Fame, and that is the make or break at that point.
it depends on your point of view. The way I look at it personally, once fear and worry come into play when you're talking about a game, you've probably made a wrong decision somewhere in there.
I
That's just my opinion.
I
But
I I agree.
I'm not going to disagree,
I would
but
say, yeah,
I think we've all made the bad decision because we still play this game.
So
That's
Sure,
fair.
yes. So
I,
yeah, it's not about making bad decisions, but the thing is, what's a bad decision to one person may not necessarily be a bad decision to another one. Especially when you
Right.
talk about,
Yeah.
spending a bunch of
Well,
money or spending a bunch of
if
time. Like, if some people
to,
think that's worthwhile, then yeah, that's great. But I
so
think
to
for
be
most
honest,
people,
man, I think most people that have that fear are the ones that are heavily invested in this game, and you know are afraid of digging a
Exactly.
hole deeper.
It's the ones that have already dumped tens of thousands of dollars into this game that really have
Yep.
that fear.
yeah,
You're more, I throw 20, $30 at the game once every couple weeks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a
you're
big
not going
deal.
to have that fear. For people like me who in the last 3 months spent more money than I'd care to admit, you're talking well into the four digits at that point. I don't want to have to miss anything because I decided, well, I'm going to take this month off, sort of thing, or I'm not going to do this event per se.
It's
I,
a
So
I
it's
have
a different
a
tier for a lot of people. Go on, Cable.
oh, I was gonna say I'm somewhere very in between. Like I can't. There'll never be an event where I say I have $700 to throw at it, even if it's guaranteed. That's just too much for me. I can spend maybe 100, maybe 150 to guarantee myself a card. That's just the limit I have for myself. I just won't do it. So for me, the reason I don't take months off and try to max every single month is it guarantees I get cards within my budget, and then when events come out, I'm not missing guys, if that makes sense. I'm not afraid to miss them. It's just as long as I'm playing this game, I'm going to do everything I can to not miss anything free. For me, that means getting the chase card every month, if at all possible. I miss Sasha, but that's 1 out of 13, and I maxed that solo event. There was just nothing more I could do with the way they had the event laid out and the where the faction rewards were for that event. My faction didn't get the shards I needed, and so I had no chance. But um, that being said, I go after every month. I always will because my goal is to have every possible requirement I can get for free so I can continue to get event cards without having to spend or having to spend very little, i.e., being in my budget. So that's why I go the way I go. Mine isn't out of fear or anything like that. I just love grinding and having something to do and trying to get as much for as little money as possible. Because at the end of the day, I'm a cheap mofo.
yeah. I mean, the benefit of having that mindset is if you're always chasing the dragon, I mean, you may never get the pull that you're trying to get. Whereas if you're always just taking the free stuff that's being given to you, I mean, eventually you will get more coins, you will get more TP, you will get more tokens. So if you just focus on the free thing, level up the free thing as much as you feel comfortable doing, then I mean that's always going to be a sound investment.
yeah, I agree. I mean, but back to the whole FOMO thing, I just want to give an example. Elias. I skipped out on the Elias month because he was attainable, but all the characters that I had that you needed to use that month were still level 1, and I didn't want to level them up. So I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm not going for Elias. I don't care. He's a good trickster. It is what it is. And then once that MP coach really started kicking into gear, and this card is really good once you have Elias, this, that, and the other, it made me really regret not going for him. And every time he was in the loop, I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on him trying to get him just for his coach ability. And I literally just pulled him, about a week ago, Bob?
Yeah, less than.
And I have literally spent stupid money on that card specifically. So, like I said, you telling people to, oh well, yeah, you can skip this event. You don't know what kind of ramifications or what kind of consequences there will be later on for your roster if you miss out on a really good trainer. Sure, you have Hogan, but he's useless now because you don't have Striker Bray to give him his MP coach. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying. again, it's like there's certain forms of FOMO, and certain ones I think hit on it a lot more than others. I think like the Bailey Sasha one, the Typhoon, and the natural disaster one. I think if you missed Earthquake, that's a roughie, but I don't think that it's gonna kill your roster. Um, but yeah, everyone has their own forms of it, and there's different tiers of it again, where I mean, yeah, I'll admit it. If I didn't get the fucking macho after spending as much money as I did, that would be like the worst form of FOMO ever. That'd be awful. That was what I was talking about before on the last one. Was like if you're gonna spend money, try and make sure that you're gonna end up getting what you want. Because in this game, if even if you don't spend money, you still want to make sure you get what you want. So at the end of the day, if you're gonna invest in it too, whether it's $10, $20, $100, $200, $1,000, doesn't really matter what level you're at. If you're gonna invest in it, try and make sure that you're gonna get what you get. And again, at the end of the day, your money is your money. Your game is your game. You play it how you play it, and no one's gonna tell you how you should or shouldn't spend your money. Well, no one's gonna, I guess, control how you spend or don't spend your money. People will tell you how you should or shouldn't, because that's just what happens in this community. Because realistically, and I'll be the first to admit it, I've said it before on this podcast, I think nobody in the world should be spending $100 on the great TP sale of the week for 150 TP of each color. It's $16 for 150 TP.
Whoa! I shouldn't have bought 3 of them.
Nope.
Why didn't you tell me?
I said it last time, but outside of that, yeah. Bottom line again, if you want to try and get something in this game, whether it's for free or for spending money, make sure you have the resources, the time, whatever it may be, available, in order to guarantee that you get it.
Speaking of good deals, I want to say that anybody who did not pick up that striker Austin and his gear for $200, you really missed out.
Dear goodness, what I made a video on the whole that event, and I said specifically, please don't buy this. There's a lot better ways to spend $200 on this game.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
I'd like to give a quick shout out to the VIP vault because 4-star gold Elias is in there.
This is true. Very, very high up there, but he's in there.
Well, the issue is if you haven't had VIP the entire time and both VIPs the entire time, it is going to be a good 6 months to a year before you even think about maybe doing it. So that's the only problem with that.
Oh yeah, it's not a quick solution,
But it's there.
for sure. But it'll get there.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, so back to the current event, the 4th of July week/weekend event. They have released this 4th of July event and I guess in unison a Hall of Fame Sarge event with it. So we can start by talking about Sarge, which I don't mind. He looks like an interesting card, better than what I initially thought he would be. Initially, I thought he was just going to be trash because there's no way of recycling his red or his blue moves. He looks interesting, but not worth the money. Again, we just talked about the Hall of Fame loot and how shitty they are. It's not really worth chasing the money. If you're one of the lucky people out there that spends $20 and ends up hitting it, congrats to you. I will not be one of you. I don't even spend the $20 on the bait anymore on these loots. I can't do it.
Nope. I'm the
Mherex,
same.
are you posting videos instead of paying attention to the podcast?
No. Well, yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
maybe
Yeah.
he's really focused on Bob's Macho.
Only on Saturdays.
So, really,
Shame
all
on
I
you,
had
sir.
to
The thing for
do.
Mherex is he only gets on the podcast to listen to Bob's voice.
Did we need it?
In all fairness, I do not blame him because that's really the only reason I come here too.
Yeah,
So-
man, that's the only reason I wanted to be on today, just to listen.
What?
So nice.
What I do in my alone time in my own bathroom is no one else's business.
Hey, I'm still in the bathtub.
You're not doing that on podcast like the other guy.
Oh
Let's not talk about that here.
no!
Let's keep
no.
that out of here.
Whoa!
as
Hold
possible.
on. If anybody wants to scrub my back, feel free.
Uh,
What,
so
do you have a loofah? Do you have a loofah? Do you have what
So
kind of soap you got?
back to Hall of Fame, Sarge.
All right, so you got to use. I use this cheap ass body wash, but it smells like strawberries,
Goodness.
and I
Ooh.
love the smell of strawberries. So I kind of want to eat my body wash sometimes. Is that weird?
No, so I have this like
And
citrus caffeinated face wash. Like technically it's not mine, it's the wife's, but it smells delicious. And it's got caffeine in it, so it makes me feel like I'm waking up. It does. It smells delicious. Oh, where's the big red thing? Let me
I was
get
gonna
that.
say it's the big red.
So at least Cable Guy can relate here. So I thank you, Cable Guy, for sticking up for me. I love you, man.
You're welcome. And I am here to wash your back whenever you need.
And I will return the favor. So if we want to get back to Hall of Fame, Sarge, before this gets even weirder,
That'd be
now's a
awesome.
good time.
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Take the journey,
for,
man.
for
Take
me,
the journey.
for me, Sarge is. I think he'd be really good in a tag situation like Showdown. I mean,
Sure.
he does pretty big damage, but trying to get the pin is a little rough. And the preview I saw took quite a bit of damage waiting around to pin somebody. So I think Booker's still better for sure.
I would have to
So-
agree with that.
Full disclosure, the last two Hall of Fame characters I have not even bothered to watch a preview video on, for the simple fact that there is no way, shape, or form I will spend even $6.99 for a single pull. The odds the odds of getting that Hall of Fame character in that pull, I'm probably more likely to actually win the lottery. So I might as well take that $7 and buy 7 lotto tickets. So
I mean, I watched Davies thing, and it took him almost an hour to find a decent moveset for singles, and even that was still reaching. So I mean, it was pretty rough. Like, yeah, I'm not spending on that at all.
Yeah, I just don't see it with a lot of the Hall of Fame guys. Like, I don't like why so much money for that particular car. I mean, they have good, solid coach abilities, I guess, but they're just not worth that kind of money.
I think Hall of Fame Booker, Hall. I'd love to have Hall just because of that finisher, and Eddie just annihilates me every time I play him. That one there. Those were the three. I mean, Sting is pretty good too, but Showboat.
So it sounds like Trickster Slaughter being better has now been confirmed.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know
man,
about
that
that one.
guy's horrible. Horrible.
So here's
I
the thing.
think
Go on, Ben.
I think you could probably get Ryback to do better than Sarge
Slaughter,
for real,
than
man.
Trickster Slaughter, yeah. Hall,
I've mentioned it before, but at 4-star, he's really not that bad, and he got even better at 5-star.
That's true.
He's
He does
okay.
But
have
just the pain of having to get him there, man.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, so on the podcast, what I said is no one should level him, but if you happen to pull him,
At
you
5-star.
shouldn't immediate. Yeah, well, even at
Yeah,
4-star.
yeah, at 5-star bronze, go for it.
Yeah, like even at 4-star, because at 4-star he gets a sub, and then you can actually do stuff with the other moves. Whereas 3-star, it's useless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, in comparison, no, I don't think Trickster is better than Striker Slaughter. I still think Hall of Fame Striker Slaughter is better than Trickster.
Well, now you're just sending confusing messages.
Oh,
Well,
he's-
I didn't
he's a striker.
I didn't get to talk about Slaughter yet. But yeah, so Cable, this guy has he's got 2 red moves, a choose black gem and a choose power gem. 2 blue moves, one is I think it's destroy black gems, and the other one is a generate 3x3 area of power gems of like strength 16 or 17,000.
I'm assuming it's a high charge.
It's an 8 MP charge move.
Yeah.
So it's
The moves aren't that bad. It's just that most of his flow is destroying his own power gems to get his recycle back. It's
right.
stupid.
So the
So like
finisher
slower-
destroys the power gems.
like a slower Mr. T build of the red build.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's a slower Mr. T. But
Okay, yeah. Not that
If
interesting.
if you use the blue move, which generates a 3x3 area of power gems, and that's why everyone likes him on the hot tag, he can tag in and deal close to like 200,000 damage on a single swipe on one move, and that's where the wonderfulness comes in. That it's just, oh, it's easy peasy. You laid out the power gems, you don't have to think. You do a swipe, you deal 6 figures, easy peasy. But no, I don't think that he's amazing. On the flip side, I don't think he's terrible. I think that he still has a choose black gem move. I think he still has a choose power gem move. He can recycle. It's not the best. It's not the most damaging, but I mean, he's better than Trickster Sarge for sure. As for compared to the other Hall of Fame cards, this card sucks. Like compare it to Sting, I still think Hall of Fame Showboat Sting is better than this card. And you compare it to Eddie, like we were just talking about, Eddie for sure is better than this card. And the best Hall of Fame card in the game is Hall of Fame Hall, because nobody plays padded at all. That's not the meta. That's not the game. That's not anything. And if someone's putting you in a 300,000 damage pin and you have no defense against it, you're not kicking out, regardless if you have Fury or not. You're just not kicking out. Um,
Unless you're Shamrock.
uh, yeah, but then your boost is over with by then.
Just saying, man. You said no one.
Yeah, that your boost only lasts so long. But but
All
yeah,
right. Well,
that card for sure is probably the best Hall of Fame card. So in regards to Sarge, again, card isn't worth it. Don't spend the money. Coach is interesting, just like all the other Hall of Fame ones are, but it's just not worth it. Um, Regarding the event, I think it's interesting, and we can talk about the UI because I know a lot of people are not so happy with it. I kind of liken this similar to the old board change when they changed up the board and the gems and all the icons and stuff on us. Um, I don't think it was necessary. I don't think it's going to generate Scopely any money. And initially, as everyone is openly admitting, they're not really fans of it. That's just like the initial board change. No one wanted to see the change. I think after a couple months of this being this way, that people are just going to get used to it and it'll just become part of the norm. And I'm not saying that it's great, but I mean it's here. Do I wish that they would have spent time? And Cable and I spoke about this. Do I wish they would have spent time working on implementing a remove all button for feud lineup or for blitz lineup? Yeah, absolutely. I wish they would have done that instead of this UI. Do I wish they would have implemented the slider for leveling people with coins? Yeah, absolutely. I wish they would have implemented the slider for leveling people with coins instead of spending time on the UI that nobody likes. Um, Again, it's not something that's going to generate them money. So them doing this, it's not even like there's, oh yeah, of course that's the reason why they did it. With Strap Pass, it was, oh yeah, they made a Strap Pass so they can generate money. This is just a UI change. This doesn't gain them anything. And everyone's initial outlook again is, we don't like it. Go back to the old way. Flip side is, I like three things about this whole entire new change. I do, actually a whole shit ton. The first thing, when you go to check your faction leaderboard score, it doesn't have to make you scroll all the way to where you're at on your faction leaderboard to find the little yellow box that says you. When you open it up, there's now a tiny little summary of where you're at on the bottom. It shows you your rank and how many points you have that you're contributing to your faction. That's first. Second, I like when you claim rewards, that it gives you an entire summary and a breakdown of all the rewards you claim now. Instead of just, oh, I claimed rewards and I saw a bunch of items flying off the screen. Hopefully I got them all into my
I'll be
inventory.
honest. I don't like how it automatically opens all your bags and tokens.
I mean, you can go in and claim it one by one if you want.
You can.
Like, you can still do that.
Yeah, that's true. But as
I-
a hoarder, I don't like my stuff being open for me.
That's fair and that's understandable. I just like the fact that there's now a summary page instead of whenever you used to claim all, you would claim all and just see everything flying off the screen and you wouldn't know if it actually hit your account or not. Which is why a lot of people were having reports of missing milestones or missing rewards, etc., etc. So that's the second thing I like about this update. And the third thing I like about this update, which a lot of people are shitting on and hating on, I like the fact that you can use more cards to clear tours. Even though you
Yeah.
may not get points towards the event, in this specific tour, This was a prime example. If you don't have, what was it, Lex Luger or Stinger, I think it was for that one tour, you could still do that tour, but you just simply wouldn't get the bonus points. And by doing that
I,
tour, you would get the bags, you would open the bags, and you would still have a way of getting points towards the event by playing blitzes.
I agree, and they're actually going to extend on that, believe it or not. They're going to make it so that other tours in the future, let's say they want you to use Hall of Fame Sarge. You can use any legend to actually just do the tour, and you might get like 100,000 coins. But if you use Hall of Fame Sarge, you'll get that 100,000 coins, plus you'll get 3 4-star gold tokens, let's say.
Sure.
So they're going to use it for additional rewards, not just contest points.
I would
That-
love to see that on a victory tour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be great. I mean,
it lets.
you know, some of those bags were TV bags.
Yeah,
Grab those.
on the longest running weekly episodic WWE Champions podcast, I mentioned that they should use these characters as bonuses, not as penalties. So I mean that's exactly what they've been doing.
That's
I
what
mean,
they're doing. Yeah.
That's a win for everyone. So no matter what size your roster is, it gives you a chance to at least play, which is what we've said all the time. Because ultimately, you want to play, even if and don't penalize people for having a smaller roster, hurting their whole faction. When they would be active, they would play, they would grind. So give them a way to make some points, and give the people that have the guys a way to make more points. It's really, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, it's really a perfect scenario. That and Scopely doing that is both shocking and really awesome, and gives me hope for other things, which is probably
Yeah, I
a
mean,
bad thing. But yes,
if they
Before-
want newer players, they're going to have to do something like this in order for people to actually invest that haven't been playing since the beginning.
yeah, I mean that definitely is going to help people that don't, have. That's a good point too. Before we go too much further, I wanted to ask Bob. You mentioned that you have to scroll down a bunch to see your rating in the leaderboards.
Previously, you used to. Now, I'd like that you don't have to.
Yeah, no. But what I'm saying, like, you had to scroll down.
Yes,
Sounds like you need to step your game up, dude.
I do, man. I'm a fucking scrub. I'm a filthy
Oh.
casual.
I swear you went with
What a
that.
dick.
Oh,
But if Powerhouse
Sneaky.
Macho was at the top, he'd be there.
that was sneaky.
Is Dr. Sparks in-game name Soft?
So you begin to see why I don't really like this gentleman and was rude to him earlier. I think now.
Listen, y'all can go eat it. But
I merely state facts that some people choose to not like.
so yeah, I think overall wrapped up, I think like I guess to pull on different people's points, like Broken said, I think this is a great example of the new UI, giving people a mini event before a month-long event to try and get used to it. Yes, obviously there's shit that sucks about it. The fact that you have to go into a faction event to find your solo event score is weird. The fact that it doesn't just stand out or stick out to you when you open up the events page, that you have to go to competitions, to some sub page to get your shit. It's a little bit annoying, I can't lie. And yeah, people have hard times finding out where certain things are, like what requirements you have or how many points they offer. But there's ways around it. You just gotta kind of familiarize yourself with it. There's like they show you, and kind of like how everyone talked about, The Rock shows you a tutorial. There's a new C now. You click it, it shows you what characters give you bonus points. If everything's pretty self-explanatory now. If you go into a node and you're scrolling through your entire roster for finding that one card, like ABA Taker or Jason Jordan or New Face of America, you don't have to scroll through your roster anymore when you click required. You can click Superstars, which is kind of similar to where Tag Links button is. If you don't know where that is, that's exactly where it is. So just click that and it'll show you the required Superstars for the event that gets you bonus points, so you don't have to go scrolling through your entire roster. There's good things sprinkled in with it. Obviously, yes, it's annoying it's change, it sucks that you have to go through faction to find solo, and there's things that people are going to find to get upset about it, just like it's similar to the board change. Um, but I mean, it's something that's here. We're gonna stay with it. Obviously, the community's not gonna make a big enough stink to say fuck you guys for this change in the UI. Um, the only thing the community made us think about with the board, which I think Cable you pointed out to me, which I brought up to you, which you brought up to me rather before, um, was it was the opponent's like silence gems or something that
Yeah,
just blended in with the color, so you couldn't tell what the opponent's gems were versus what they weren't.
the special
Those are the
gems.
multi gems.
Yeah, in particular the multi, but a lot of the special gems were really hard to see. I actually liked the new gem board at the start and still like it more to this day. That was the only thing I didn't like, was the fact that you couldn't see some of those special gems very well.
Wait, the board gem changed?
You would know if you played instead of doing pulls. Next time you're in the game, just do the tutorial, the starting tutorial. I think you start as John Cena. You'll see the new board.
Correct. Oh, okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, broken. The change that happened like over a year ago on the board. You'll find it soon. Anyway,
I'll be honest, I didn't even notice it when it did happen, so I'm colorblind anyways, so it all just kind of blends together. I go by shapes.
I mean, that's how Tommy used to work. But anyway, I guess we could talk about our final item on the list before we start asking the community for some questions. There's apparently in code another quote unquote D9 monthly contest coming up.
It's the Dynamic 9.
So go figure. It's a repeat, I guess, from the 4-star era now into the 5-star era. Needless to say, they had a
How
whole
much
shit
pain?
ton. They had a whole shit ton of glitches, a whole shit ton of bugs, a whole shit ton of fucked up things in the beta for 5-star. Like Mark Henry's finisher wasn't doing any damage. People were making areas of 0 gems, which I had never seen before. It doesn't make any sense. If you clicked on certain cards, your entire game would crash. So I'm really glad to see that 5-star is coming to the game really soon. I can't wait to see all these issues go live, just to see how long it takes for them to fix it. Just because we had the beta for a single week.
In all fairness, during that beta, a lot of these things were caught and fixed rather quickly. Like within hours of being caught, these things were getting fixed.
I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing that at all. And there was a lot of fixes they did implement. The issue is they didn't give the player base enough time, let alone enough characters to play with, in order to give them enough feedback to tell them what's actually wrong with people. Because
Well, I'll disagree on the whole no time thing. More characters they definitely should have done, but the no time thing I'm going to disagree with, because it was like holy hell being a mod on that server for probably the first 2 or 3 days. Then after that it got so quiet and everybody was just like, yeah, I'm bored, this is done.
that's
believe it or
because the
not,
beta
it
was
was
bad.
a lot of time.
The beta was
It's
bad.
because you only had 2
Is there any-
characters. You had to
does
redo
the
the
company do
tutorial every
anything
time
good?
you had to freaking get new guys.
Well, no, the whole point was, and this is something we brought up before, the beta wasn't 100% reflective of the game. There was no straps, there was no medals, there was no Bray Wyatt MP trainer, and you got 2 cards. So yeah, everyone's natural desire is I don't want to play the beta after doing it for a day, let alone 2. The fact that people tried to do it afterwards was nuts.
You got
We
Bray
had one
Wyatt
guy,
as a 5-star.
You got Bray Wyatt what now?
I said you got Bray Wyatt as an MP trainer if you got him as your 5-star.
Oh, right. Sorry. Sorry, I forgot that should have been the disclaimer. But the point is,
Yeah.
like, again, it's
Let
the
game
point
up, too,
is, in the beta there wasn't enough time in the sense of a week, and the reason I say it wasn't enough time is because the way that the beta was set up didn't get fixed. There were certain glitches that they did fix every single, I'm not even going to say every single day, every single couple of 6 hours or 8 hours there was a new glitch fix that was getting posted multiple times per day, which wasn't the issue. The issue is that the beta never fully got reflected for people to say, okay, if I relaunch the beta this time, I'm going to get more than 2 cards, or I'm going to get 2 cards that I will be able to use my Striker Bray Wyatt MP trainer for. There was not enough, and that's what I say, there's not enough time because the beta wasn't actually done properly for them to get enough feedback. And there's going to be a shit ton of
I,
cards that are going to come out at 5-star, which are going to be messed up. That's the point I'm
I
making.
agree. I agree, but at the same time, like I said, I mean, let's look at it like this: the dodge and everything mechanics. Everyone shat all over that beta. They tweaked it a little bit before release, but it's still not good. So just expect more of that.
So I should expect more of the shit that made a whole bunch of people quit and people on the edge of quitting.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So, but that's my point. It's like again, the fact the 5-stars are coming out. It's the new D9 monthly event. Personally, I have zero desire to go after this. I have no desire to go and make any single character of mine a 5-star. I'm not in any sort of rush. I'm not planning on investing a shit ton of resources to try and maybe get 3 tokens to hopefully have enough to take one person in one class up to 5-star for next to no change. The change that they had in damage, the change they had in health was extremely minuscule, and most people's moves at 5-star they don't just become amazing all of a sudden, especially people you already
Yeah,
have at
I
4-star gold.
will
I
say
think
that some
I
of the
think
move
your
damage is.
I think your 5-star silver is going to be where it's at.
I mean, like for me, I did check Gold Dust. Man, his move damage was huge. It was 60K. He was putting down some pretty hard
And
finishers.
I
and in
wouldn't.
fairness, I do have to hop off here really quick. I seen your question mark on the whole Lana thing. I don't know if you do know this. Killian Dane is the free card. Lana is the chase. So a lot of people are probably going to skip anyways. But in case anybody hasn't done any polls, they have updated the UI in the polls too to reflect 5-stars already.
Yes, I did hear something about that as well, that there is a supposedly 5th-star in the polls.
There is. But I do have to cut short and get out of here because I thought this was going to be an hour and a half. So
Yeah, we sometimes roll over, it happens, but not a
yeah, I
problem.
know.
Thank you for
But
joining us, Broken.
yeah, I'll be in the next one. I'm sure. Maybe, probably not because I'll be in Colorado. So
We'll figure it out.
I shall catch y'all later.
Have a good one, my man.
Peace.
So the 5-star in general, the beta, I signed up for it. Didn't really play it too much. Not really super into it because the last time I did beta, so much changed as far as characters, how good they felt, how good they played, that I didn't want to really make decisions based off of what I saw in the beta because who knows if it'll be live. As for a lot of the other stuff, if it's like a D9 where you need almost everyone to be able to get your character, I just gonna assume I don't get it. I will treat the month like I do every month and go for the chase card, even if it is Lana. I won't spend extra to get her, Lana, whatever, because not interested in her unless she's a great coach or trainer. But I'm also not like upset or mad or anything over it like YouTube. I'm not in a hurry with the 5-star. I do know there's guys I definitely plan on leveling for sure. That
Sure.
like Earthquake is gonna
Yeah, I
happen.
mean,
Dango is gonna happen. Breeze is gonna happen.
Yeah,
Because
like I'm gonna take up Dango too, because I spoke with you about that one, and I agree with you. It's not even like it doesn't matter if there's other showboats that become viable at 5-star. It's just that's the showboat that I like and that is very viable, and that regardless if he's 4 gold or 5 whatever, he's still a
right,
very good showboat. That's who I want to take up. But
yeah.
like you're
whatever
saying, I'm
people
not in a
think.
rush. I'm not gonna
Right.
go crazy over like let me spend 40 million coins so I can get my Dango up there.
Oh yeah. Not gonna do that
I
No.
mean,
either.
think about it this way: after 9 happened, right, the coins were tight for
You
2 months or so, and then was flooded.
you're kind of cutting out a little bit, Ben, but I think I heard what you were saying.
I mean, after D9, it's hard to get those coins. Um, that kind of leveled out after.
Yeah, I think what I'm not sure 100%, but I think what he's saying, like so when they first came out, the first like month, 2 months, it was super hard to get the tokens, if you remember, to get to 5 star. But then immediately after that, the one or to 4 star rather, immediately after that, those tokens became, I had way excess of those, and I was short of the older tokens. So I would assume this will be much the same. I'm not going to go hardcore to get the new tokens. I'm going to continue to prep for talent ups every month to play talent ups to get better guys for my roster, and I'm not going to rush and, like you said, dump 40 million coins into guys so I can have a 5 star in every class month one or month two or whatever.
Right.
I'm just going to continue to prep the way I always have, and then get them as they come. Because honestly, 4 star technicians were super good at 4 star bronze. Like Orton with his crazy high move damage, sounds like Gold Dust could potentially be a repeat of that. So I anticipate 4 star bronze being a lot of the same. Recyclers were really big. You typically didn't put anyone down turn one, with the exception of like Orton could do so, like in feud, if you did it perfectly and have
Right.
the right
And the
perks. Yeah.
perks, yeah.
hmm So I don't think that any of that's going to be like game changing hugely. I would focus on guys that recycle well, because they're always going to be pretty viable, or guys, let's say like a Champa who's putting down 2 rows of silence gems every turn. Good luck if you're trying to recycle when the whole board is silence gems.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, so guys like that, guys that recycle. Big E, there's no way he's not going to be phenomenal in any format, but especially if you need to recycle. The longer the match goes, the stronger he's going to get. Like, just because you're going to have multiple turns, and then you'll be using the pin bar back even more than once. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it's anything worth freaking out about. I'm certainly not going to spend a bunch of money to get like real money to get tokens to be the first one to have a 5 star, because it won't matter. I'll feed the same way I always do, a little bit lower with my prep, appropriate for the perks I have, so I can beat up on people, And then for the other stuff, Showdown, like I said, Dango and Breeze, they're my Showdown team. No reason to think it'll be any different, because they have one of the best links with like Mr. T and Hogan. So focus on your Showdown team, and that stuff, and those guys first, and get what comes to you. That's my take on it.
1000%. Couldn't agree more.
I don't even remember what the last D9 event was or what they gave out.
It was horrible. You needed Honky Tonk Man and Vince, and no one had them. And tons of people spent, what, thousands to Bob, probably? I
Mhm.
skipped out. I didn't do it. And then you needed to have like 8 of 9 or 9 of 9 to even feud.
You
And then
needed
if you
eight of nine to feud to get the coin for the 4 star
random,
chest. Yeah, the 1 out of 18 posters.
yeah, and a lot of people got Striker Balor, who isn't even good at 4 star, and like, stuff.
Thanks. That's who I got.
Right. And then like, who was some other ones? Like, wasn't like,
Striker
was AJ
Austin. Striker
was AJ one?
Austin, AJ, Showboat Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, Kevin Nash Powerhouse, Goldberg, Vader, um,
Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon. Like, it wasn't that it was a bunch of bad cards. It was just like none of those were necessarily game changing cards. Lo and I think I found the picture for it last week or so, and posted it in a side server on like an old chat of mine, and everyone was like, "Wow, can you imagine looking at that back in the day when 4 stars first came out and thinking to yourself, I really want to pull Goldberg out of this loot because he was the
And
best
now,
card there."
yep.
So, Mherex, you weren't able to participate last time because you were missing people?
Oh yeah, that was early. So I haven't been
Hmm.
playing as long as any of you guys actually in this chat. I think I had 4 or 5 of the guys. I didn't even consider it. Like, yeah, not even close.
And then, Bob, what about you?
So at the time, I had 7 out of 9 going into the event, and I was like, I was watching a bunch of people in my faction spending hundreds, if not thousands, chasing either Vince or Honky Tonk because Vince was only a top 100 leaderboard at the time. That was the only way people had gotten him, aside from a pull. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. When the feud came up and we needed 8 out of 9 because it was, I think, like 3 feuds leading up to that one where it's like, you need 4 out of 9 for this feud, you need 6 out of 9 for this feud, you need 7 out of 9 for this feud, and I was like, okay, Maybe I can get him leading up to it. Never got him. Final one, you need 8 out of 9. I said, all right, screw it. I'll spend 100 on the loot. So I spent 100 and I pulled Vince on the first go. So that's how I ended up getting Vince for 8 out of 9, and then ended up getting the D9 loot coin and pulling Striker Balor. And to follow up on that, which was kind of annoying, they released the loot at like 2 or 3 in the morning in the middle of the feud. And there wasn't a spot for a modern or a striker superstar, but there was a spot for a new gen. So if people pulled Vader as the powerhouse at 4-star, they were putting their brand new 4-star Vader, leveling him up with all their coins and TP into their feud lineup in 3-star gold meta territory, and it was impossible to beat him.
So the reason I ask is, Mherex, how do you feel about the fact that you weren't able to participate? Are you fine with your lineup right now, or do you have those foamy emotions that you were talking about earlier?
Oh, the fear
So
of missing out.
Yeah, so I have 7 of 10, and I won't be spending for it. And frankly, in this case, I
No,
couldn't.
I'm talking about the last one.
He's talking about the last
Oh
D9. Like, do you have FOMO of the last D9 because you didn't participate?
no, I feel like I missed nothing. Even if I had all of them, I would have got freaking Striker Austin. Big deal.
So, Bob, how would you feel about your roster right now had you not gotten Striker Balor?
I mean, oof. I'd be missing not too much, I'll tell you that much. No,
So
I see the point you're getting at here.
that's kind of the point that I make. Like, people, yes, I get that people are very invested. They're very into the game. They want to get everything. They want it right now. But if you don't get it, like, it'll be fine. Like, it's, if anyone, I know no one gets to the end of our podcast because it's horrible. But at the end, I always tell people, relax. It's just a game. Like, so I think if you have the people to do it this time, great. Do it. Get whatever they give. If it's free, grab all of it. If you can't do it, yeah, it'll be fine. My personal opinion.
Allegedly fine.
No, he is right. To be
No,
honest,
I agree with him completely, actually.
to be honest, so I think somebody was digging in code a couple days ago, and they actually found the loot. If you end up so the thing is with this D9 one, apparently there's a bunch of tours that require a bunch of very rare characters, and then there are vault coins in the tours that you can get if you have those specific characters and beat them, and then it's a total of 5,000 vault coins to unlock the full vault, but you can only earn 4,000 vault coins if you have every single character listed, which includes Sid and Hollywood Hulk Hogan, along with a VIP character, Rey Mysterio,
Yep.
a bunch
Yep.
of rare cards. But the point is, let's say that you actually have all this. Let's say that you do get the 4,000 vault coins instead of out of the 5,000. Let's say you unlock level 3, and even though there is exactly a weight of 1 out of over 1,200,000 on the choice coin, let's just say you are the 1 out of 1,200,000 people that actually ends up getting it within the 4,000 vault coins instead of the 5,000 vault coins. The list of characters that you can choose from for the 5-star bronze vault D9 character, whatever you'd like to call it, for the upcoming month is the following: Elias, Ronda Rousey. You don't get to choose them. This is a random shot, by the way. The coin that you get is similar to D9. You use the coin and you have a bag with a quote-unquote equal odds chance at one of these superstars: Elias, Ronda Rousey, Ultimate Warrior Powerhouse, Surfer Sting, which is the acro, Becky Lynch Main, which is not the man, so that is the showboat, AJ Styles Phenomenal, which is the acrobat, obviously, Bam Bam Bigelow, Brock Lesnar, the way that the code has it is post and pre-UFC, so that's going to be NBT and Powerhouse Lesnar, Sergeant Slaughter, which is who we were talking about. If you get a 5-star fuse up for Sergeant Slaughter, right there.
Incredible.
$1 Million Man Technician, Jake the Snake, Bruno Sammartino, Duggan, X-Pac, and Vader. So those are your top of the top of a 5-star. If you end up getting everything there, you will get one of those at 5-star. Now call me crazy, but the fact that AJ is on this list again, Sting is on this list again, and Vader is on this list again, along with Duggan being on this list again, I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say they didn't put too much effort into this one.
And it's not
Now
worth
hold on
getting.
just a moment. Stinger is a national treasure.
Actually, Stinger looks really good at
Stinger looks
5-star.
great. I'm not arguing. Stinger does look great. Can't.
And Bam Bam
Yep. Bam Bam looks amazing too,
and Jake.
and Jake does look pretty darn good. I'm not lying.
However,
5 stars.
odds of me pulling one of them are 0. Because if you take your 3 out of 18 chance, which is 1 out of 6, and you divide that by 22 and a third, and you add in 2 Bob's chance of 66 and 2/3 of pulling the best one there, let's say not the best one of those 3, 66 and 2/3, because he's
Somehow
got the
2
devil's
Bob
own
is
luck.
going to pull
Banner Man.
Powerhouse Macho out of this.
Right. Uh, he'll pull Powerhouse Macho, and that'll negate my 33 and a third chance. And Dr. Sparks will have a 0% chance, and Broken will have a 100% chance because he'll just pull until he gets something. And
I
you
was gonna say
take
he'll
all
have
of
a
that.
100% chance to pull nothing.
Yes. You take all of those percentages into account, and I have roughly a 2 2/3 chance of getting a decent character. But actually, I have a 0% chance because I'm not going to be able to clear the vault.
Yeah, I
Correct.
mean it's 0 because you multiplied it by my 0%, so everything else you said is 0.
Right.
Right.
This was all going based off the odds that you're gonna be the 1 in 1.2 million person. That you still need these odds.
Yeah, not happening. So anyway, unless they give out more ways to get more coins, you're not getting that from the vault. So I'm sure they will. They'll probably do a feud where you need 10 of 10 or 9 of 10 or something. Maybe a showdown. Who knows? Either way, I'm not getting worked up about it. I'm not even going to be mad that I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm just going to be smart and not spend a bunch and make dumb choices.
I think if it's attainable, obviously it's worth going for. Like if it's a
Of
showdown,
course.
and showdown is like, hey guys, you get 100 extra vault coins for every one of these required characters, and they give you the list of 10 characters that you need, which are male and female mix, and they maybe sprinkle in like another 5 premium cards that you guys might have, but you don't have the ultra premium like Hollywood Hogan type of thing.
Right.
But maybe they sprinkle in some more. Then yeah, maybe there's a way that people can end up getting the coin. Maybe it's worth it if that's the case. But outside of that, just eh. Yeah, Aiden, it's Showboat. Main Main, not the man. They have it. They have the man coded as the man in code, but main Becky Lynch is the Irish last kicker Becky. So obviously not something a lot of people are going to be wanting. If you got Tech Becky, I mean, yeah, a lot of people say Tech Becky's the truth at 5-star, but flip side is again, how often are these females being required? Are they going to try and revive females at the 5-star level? I mean,
doubt it.
Not as far as Mherex is concerned. Mherex is on a campaign of hate against
No, I'm
women.
not.
So I was gonna say it's not that I even hate it. I think they shot themselves in the foot with it. I think
Well,
they could have
so-
had a great idea, and they screwed it up. They lowered the damage on moves. They lowered the damage on gems, and then after they screwed up, they were like, well, our creativity has kind of the creativity well has kind of gone dry. We're gonna just start copying over our male superstar movesets onto the females and releasing new cards as females that maybe people like, so maybe they'll buy them. And then they just screwed it over by taking them out of the showdown. I think at
Did they
5-star.
fix?
Go on.
Because it was my understanding, because I remember early on the gem damage on females was light, and that's why Ronda was such a big deal because she actually had better gem damage. But I think all their gem damages are the same now. Was that changed at some point, or am I just misremembering all that?
No, I think you may be right. I think it may be changed since initial release.
I
Um,
believe it is.
But like I guess to touch on that point, Ronda has an amazing 5-star move, and apparently Becky gets a choose black gem move. So I mean, yeah, they may be trying to make a high-end, top-tier female roster again, but the question is like, what for? What's the payoff?
Full disclosure, I have
Much to
I
the
have
rage of Mherex.
I have Zombie Page, right? Who many consider the best female.
Sure.
Uh, she's at 4-star bronze. I have no intention of taking her any higher, and my only 4-star gold females are free token wise because I cannot justify spending tokens on the females who are used at 1/20th of the game when it could go into males. So I just use the months when females are required to, if I don't have that class at a 4-star gold. So like Steph, who I actually really like,
Yep.
Bailey, who I actually really like. Um, Wendy's certainly serviceable. She recycles. So, I mean, it gets the job done. I don't need to waste tokens on them, and that's how I look at it, as a waste, because they're such a small portion of the game. And that's how I look at my female roster. It's not that I don't like using them. Bailey is actually super fun. I would love a copy of Bailey in a male form.
The rate of return is just so tiny. That's all.
What Mherex just said was women are a waste.
If you enjoy this banter, you can see it on a weekly basis. Why I put up with this fool is beyond me. But anyway, yes,
But
according to him, he's right. I hate all women. It's a waste of time. I'm a terrible human being.
Except Bailey.
Right.
except Bailey.
Jeez.
No, it's an issue because they really did shoot themselves in the foot with the females. They could have done so much more. They had one tour, one road tour. That was it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's a mix on the new Royal Rumble tours that, yeah, you kind of need the females, which
Yeah, I use Bailey a ton on that Royal Rumble.
right.
Basically, all the ones where you need a woman.
I was gonna say, it's like if you need a woman, Bailey's your go-to. If you're that person who took her up to 4 silver, she's still your
Yeah.
go-to. You don't even need to have her at 4 gold. 4 silver, she's still great.
She's legit.
She does damage, and for those of you that do have Z Page from the Fiasco or Lucky Pulls or Spring Outbreak or whatever it is, that's another move that you can just use in these tours. But again, it's like you already have the card. You don't need to go out there and pull Hall of Fame Bree. You don't need to go out there and hate the fact that you don't have Sasha from the monthly. You don't need to go out there and say, oh, Lana's going to be my best card, because you already have the females that get the job done. Even with this brand new set of tours at 4 bronze, 4 silver, 4 gold, if you have the people that can't get it done right now, you have the card and you can level it up. That's the point. There's nothing at this point female-wise that they can make, because they've pretty much destroyed all the female-related events that would make anyone want to spend on them. And Cable, I'm not too far off from you. The only 4-star gold female that I have is Stephanie, because of that monthly. I skipped the Wendy month, so I don't have her. And Bailey, I couldn't get up to 4-star gold. If anyone had listened to the podcast before, I was 4 tokens short that month. I just got super close. It was unfortunate, and I really wanted to take her up. I wanted to take Cena up this past one, but not even as bad as I want to take Bailey up, because it's the prime example of what Cable just said. I'm not going to want to use my tokens on a female character who has used 1/20th the amount of time as a male character in this game, because the rate of return is not worth it. It's just not. So if I have that chance to utilize that monthly and say, boom, can take this female up to 4 gold, now I have a viable 4 gold female whenever they're needed. Royal Rumble Tour. Perfect example.
Yep.
So yeah, outside of that, I have Steph is 4 gold, Bailey is 4 silver with 3 hollow stars, which I don't even give a shit about. She still romps everybody. And Z Page, I ended up finally getting the fuse up for, so that's the only reason she's 4 silver. I had her 4 bronze, I wasn't going to move her, and I specifically didn't move her until I got enough shards. Got the shards, moved her to 4 silver. Haven't moved her to 4 gold, and I won't be moving her anytime soon. It's just, they've killed it.
I'm set on women. I've Steph at Wendy for Z Page for, and then I'll probably work up China because
of the new Royal Rumble tour that you were talking about, that one requirement.
Yep, I mean that's the reason. I mean I'm like I think I'm China tokens from getting her able to go.
I wish you luck, man.
So
They seem to pop very often in the showdown shop now.
they do, but I've been so TP poor. I've been taking the TP out of it.
I don't blame you. Dude, anytime I can, every day. Star frags, TP, 2-star silver tokens if it's 2 stars. Every day, hands
The
down.
purple star fragment. I got to get Eddie solid
I
star.
pick up every star fragment. I don't
Yep.
care. Every star fragment, every day. I don't care if it's 10,
The,
20, 100,
some of them.
200, every day.
Have you guys noticed there's a different price on some of the
Yes.
Each
classes?
of them. Yeah,
Striker.
it goes like
That's
up and
weird.
down 10 or something like that per class. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that may have had to do something with how they coded it in the showdown system, that they maybe needed to have it populate in a certain way, and that's why it's different, but so minimal of a difference.
Also, for anyone still chasing Wolfpack Sting, if you didn't get him before the Showdown store change, man, that is not easy. I barely ever see
Yeah.
his shards now.
Same thing with Slick.
I've seen his shards. I've seen his shards once since it's changed over, and I still need like like seven of those 50 shards to get him.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm just
nuts.
pretty much giving up.
I feel bad for everybody who needs Slick still. They screwed everybody on the price of those.
Well, yeah, all the slick shards want them. Yeah, if that, I have him at 3 silver and been sitting there for a while, but so close to the fuse up. But maybe one day I'll take him up. I just had way too many multiply people and legends.
I took
Just
him
never
9k
really became a
9k for
player.
the trainer. That's what I took him to, and then I hit a 4-star silver fuse up. I clicked the fuse up button. I've never moved him since. He still does like a quarter of a million damage for me in feud, and I don't have the
I know
multi-jump perks.
everybody's not out of him, but he makes me think too much. I don't like that.
No, that's
I
fair.
just want to push buttons and kill
That's
people.
totally fucking understandable. That's why there's different cards.
I just want to, powerhouse Kane and just slap the snot out of you with K
That-
damage. And
That's
see
what
you
I
later.
want to. That's what I want to do with Earthquake now, man. I just want to do that with Earthquake. I just want to turn one Earthquake everybody. Just boom.
Man, that Hall of Fame Booker, the multiply perk
Oh, that
in feud.
oh,
Oh my
that
god!
one
Oh,
feud
that was so.
with the
I
green
was doing like
moveset.
700K.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
You were showing me those photos. You were north of 600,000 damage with the green moveset on Hall
Yeah,
of Fame Booker because of the
it
feud
was so
perks.
dumb. Yeah, and that was turn one.
It's fun though. Certain cards, man. That's why. That's why I love bringing up certain cards, and that's why I used to enjoy feud and used to love feud because it was like when
Yeah,
you get that
I
one
think.
card that just hits like that, you're just like, what? Why do I want to use anybody else in my lineup?
Yeah,
I just made a
it's like
700,000
strikers.
damage monster. Like, why do I want to ever touch anything else?
You guys were up on Striker Cena, and I get why, but man, I've got Harper, and I can just throw the
Yeah.
multiply perk and just thump people turn one. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Not a lot of people have Harper. I don't have Harper either, to be fair.
Also,
I got him. I pulled him on the very first $100 pull that
Oh,
they
wow.
had him on. Very first one,
Oh, wow.
because I got Rowan that month too. I was one of the ones that got Rowan on the last day that didn't get taken away from the thing.
that's a sore subject with me.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it.
Ouch! That hurts my heart.
I think you were in the middle of saying something, Cable. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
I said, "Ouch!" That hurts my heart.
Oh, no. So I was saying beforehand. My bad.
Yeah. At this point, like
Yeah.
a minute and a half passed. Do you think I
Yeah.
can remember what I was going to be
fair.
talking about?
That's
Come on,
fair.
man.
I dug at his soul a little. He forgot it all.
Yeah, it hurt.
Well, all right, everybody. I think for now we'll call it. It's already been past 2 hours. Man, go figure. Time flies. For a podcast that was supposed to have a grand total of 2 people that were going to make it 60 minutes before going live. Pretty intense. Thank you all for actually being able to make it out. I know Broken isn't
Hey.
here. Thank you, Dr. Sparks. Thank you.
Yeah, I was
Extremely.
greatly misled.
I personally enjoyed you hopping onto this one. It means a lot to me, and I do hope that we can have you onto a future one. Hearing your insight was actually kind of fun. Can't lie. It's fun to get like a different mindset and different outlook of things. And I don't want people to think that we were arguing before, but this is a podcast and it's a roundtable. Everybody kind of gets a say at everything, and I really liked hearing your aspect and your outlook of how to approach these monthlies or the lack of FOMO in certain months. Getting a new take on it was really enlightening. So thank you for actually being able to hop on and join us with this one. Thank you.
Do you not listen to the other podcast?
I mean, look, I do, but
There's another
that's not this
podcast.
one. I do, but that's not this one. And anyone that is listening to this one, yes, there is a weekly podcast that goes on between Cable, who is known as Mherex Gaming, and Dr. Sparks over here.
Whoa.
Is his first special
Yes.
guest. I'm aware. It was the kickoff special guest, and it's an interesting listen to say the absolute least. Very entertaining. If you guys actually have any time, head on over to Mherex Gaming server. He's got an amazing, wonderful podcast that's going on. It's some great work to say the absolute least. But thank you guys for heading on over, for joining. And one final plug. I'm not really huge on like plugging my own shit, but there's a new server that's going around in Discord. It's the Community Lounge. And I think what we're going to be trying to do from now on is going to be hosting this podcast on the Community Lounge from now. There's a very large player base there. If you're not aware of what it is or how to get an invite to it, just ask for someone that's already on the server. I'll work on getting them verified and sending some invites out. But we're trying to move locations, and I think that it'll have a much more community-wide presence with everybody in the player base instead of just a couple of people or just a select few people. What we're going to be doing now, though, is we're going to be sitting around for another couple of minutes with everyone that is in here that's still listening. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask any of us. We're all going to just hang out for another couple of minutes. Normally, we would be starting Showdown. There is no Showdown. There's the amazing, wonderful July 4th weekend event that's going on with the Blitz. If you guys have any questions, I'm sure that one of us will definitely be able to answer and get you an answer as to what's going on. But for the YouTube video, thank you everybody who has sit in and listened for over 2 hours now. Kind of crazy. And hopefully we can keep these bi-weekly podcasts running strong because I'm enjoying doing them. I'm loving having the guests with me. And thank you guys all for sitting in and making this a wonderful production.